I think it's close enough to 7 o'clock. Okay, welcome everyone to our annual organizational meeting. Before we start today, we will recognize that we're holding our meeting on the unceded territories of the Shuswap and Huipetchesset First Nations. City Clerk, are there any late items?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have one item of correspondence from Chris Alberni, re the start times of regular council meetings, and if you would consider amending the agenda to add item 6A, that piece of correspondence.
Thank you. And any late items from councillors? None? Somebody like to move approval of our agenda with the late item?
So moved, Madam Mayor. Second.
All in favor? Carried. Okay. That brings us to our annual address, and I will warn you, I was saying earlier today that my address was a little bit boring, and Councillor Paulson suggested I start with a joke, which I don't have, so no joke for tonight. So I want to start by welcoming everyone to our annual organizational meeting and thanking all of you for coming. Before we start tonight, I want to recognize the people who are in the room tonight who played an integral role in building our community. Freeman of the City, Jim Sawyer, Ken Whiteman, and Ken McCrae. Could you each stand? Thank you. We want to recognize the three of you and appreciate the contributions that you've made to Port Alberni. We also want to recognize again the recent loss of Freeman of the City, Gillian Trumper, and just appreciate her for her decades-long service to Port Alberni. At our inaugural address last year, I spoke not about what this council would do, but rather how we would work together. We made a commitment to building relationships with each other and working forward with a basis of respect. This doesn't mean we always agree, and it certainly doesn't mean we don't occasionally leave meetings frustrated or disappointed by specific issues. It means when we leave our council chambers, regardless of the decisions that are made, we still value the people sitting around the table and hold a genuine respect and appreciation for each other. A friend of mine once said to me, Port Alberni needs leaders who can see opportunity and change, who are willing to face the challenges head on, and who can lead us into the future with new solutions. I can't think of a group of people who could better exemplify these values, and I'm proud to have the opportunity to work with each of you. I'd also like to extend a personal thank you to our CAO, Tim Ply, our management team, and every member of our city staff. Tonight, we're going to honor two of our employees who have committed 25 years of service to the city of Port Alberni. And as a council, we feel privileged to work with all of you. And we thank you for not just coming to work each day, but for fully investing yourselves in the work that you do. Our first year as a council has come and gone in what I think many of us would describe as a bit of a whirlwind. While there's certainly been some challenge and definitely some unfortunate tragedies, I think there's also a lot for us to celebrate. Over the last decade, we've watched other towns on Vancouver Island experience rapid growth. At times, it's felt like we've fallen behind, but we now have the unique ability to not only learn from their successes, but also learn from their mistakes as we shape the future of Port Alberni. Upon taking office last year, this council began an intentional process of coming together to find a common vision and a core set of values that we can move forward based on. We're incredibly excited to finally have both our strategic plan and our reconciliation report complete and ready to implement. We believe both these documents will guide us forward as we develop the future of our community. The driving force behind our strategic plan is a simple goal: to improve the quality of life of all the residents of Port Alberni. We believe it will take bold steps and a clear plan to transition Port Alberni toward a stronger future. The next phase of our community will likely look different than the past. And while this is exciting in some ways, we recognize that with change comes a certain level of discomfort. We want you to know that we recognize this discomfort, and we want to continue to hear from you as we work through our strategic plan. And while the feedback is not always easy to hear, we know that we will make better decisions and ultimately build a stronger community if we work together. Council's strategic plan, as many have before us, recognizes the need to diversify our economy. If people don't have the ability to earn a livelihood, we know they won't choose Port Alberni to invest their lives in. We're really proud to be seeing new industries developing in our community, whether it be the cannabis industry, the tech industry, aviation, seaweed cultivation is a new one for us, value-added forestry, tourism, seafood processing, or others. These industries represent our opportunity to build a strong, balanced, diversified economy. We're also excited to be seeing a resurgence of our small business sector, with a significant amount of storefronts that were empty just a year ago, now benefiting from major renovations and filling with thriving businesses. You don't have to look far in our commercial core to see examples of these improvements. With almost no block left untouched, we can all begin to feel pride in our commercial core again. And we want to thank every one of these small businesses for investing in the future of our community. We are building a community, and every community needs a strong downtown core, a place where we can celebrate who we are, visit with our neighbors, and enjoy the vibrancy that a thriving community should offer. But it's no secret that there are difficult times ahead. From mental health and addictions to public safety, we know we have much work to do with higher levels of government to address these challenges. We also know that a basic need for those living under the poverty line in our community is safe, affordable, quality place to call home. The city has been working on several exciting housing projects, including independent seniors housing, below market and at market rental accommodations for families, housing for women and children who have fled violent relationships, and housing for our Indigenous citizens. We know that there's much more work to be done to build a safe, happy, healthy, and inclusive community. The issues that we face in our community are real, and we must face them head on if we want to improve. And while we're talking about challenges, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to mention the current challenges in the forest industry. Port Alberni was built on forestry. So when the industry struggles, we all feel that pain. As a council, we will continue to bring Port Alberni's messages to senior levels of government and ensure that we are well positioned to thrive in the value-added forest sector. Today I met on behalf of council with Minister of Forests Doug Donaldson in his office in Victoria. I brought directly to the minister council's concern over the forest sector in Port Alberni, and more urgently, the workers, their families, and others in our community affected by the current labor dispute and the recently announced mosaic curtailment. This council will continue to act in the best interest of our community when we talk about these issues. And I'm really happy with the willingness of this council to come together in a united way and look at the best interests of our community. And despite the difficulties, as we enter the second year of our term, I can't help but feel incredibly optimistic about the future of our community. The challenges we face will not disappear overnight, but with hard work, persistence, and key partnerships, I believe we are moving toward a stronger, even more resilient Port Alberni. So in closing tonight, I want to thank all of you, the general public, our dedicated city staff, those of you who volunteer on our committees, or who take the time to provide feedback on our initiatives. It's the people of our community who keep us moving forward, and it's the people of our community who are ultimately responsible for the positive momentum we're seeing. So thank you to each of you, and we look forward to another year of working together to build a stronger Port Alberni. Thank you. Ron says it wasn't boring, so thank you, Ron. Would somebody like to move receipt of Council's annual address?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Is there a seconder? All in favor? Carried. The next thing we're going to do tonight is recognize two of our employees, one of whom is not unfortunately able to be here tonight, for 25 years of service to the city of Port Alberni. And the first one we're going to recognize is Lisa Kraus, so I will just call forward Wayne Chevelday.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, councilors, city staff, public for showing. Thank you very much. And of course, Lisa, thank you for all the things you've done here. I just want to give a little background history of Lisa. First of all, when the city hired Lisa, they hired her at the Public Works Department as a seasonal labor 2 position. And She did that for 2 years before she posted into a full-time position as a solid waste one commercial garbage truck driver. And at that time, there was two people on the commercial garbage truck, and so they split duties of driving the truck. And she did that for 2 years. So she got a lot of good driving experience, a big truck around town here. So that was excellent. Then she ended up posted into another position, and that was for a street service one, and that was the asphalt patch truck. So she was the one that was going around patching all the potholes and doing all the work and on all the roads around town. And a lot of people didn't really realize that. Now, just to make a note, which was pointed out to me a while ago, Lisa Kraus was the first female outside worker for the Public Works Department. So a lot of people didn't know that. And so that was good information. I tried to get a photo. The photo, actually, the newspaper came down and took a picture of her with the garbage truck. And we tried to find that, but they just said they archived it, Lisa, so sorry. So she did that for a year, and then she ended up taking another posting, and she posted into a truck driver 1, laborer 2 position. And she did that for almost 7 years. And I think the best position, the most part about that job that she liked the most was operating the single axle dump truck with the snow plow and the sander on it. That was the most fun she's had, she said, in a lot of years, so she kind of missed that. Then she ended up going from there, she posted it into full-time receptionist up at Echo Center. And she did that for 10 years before she came up to City Hall and did another year stint at the reception office up here. Then she did a complete 360, and she ended up getting a level 2 first aid certificate. And she posted down, and we had an opening, and she is now today our operations clerk, first aid attendant at the works yard. So she came right around in circle and did that. And that she's doing that today, and she's doing a good job at it. Thank you very much, Lisa. And on that note, I'd like to thank her on behalf of the city for all the, thank you and congratulate you for your 25 years of service. Thank you.
Probably one of my children made that happen on my dad's phone, if I had to guess. Okay, and the next person we want to recognize tonight is Zolt Hepsberger, and he couldn't be here tonight, but I think we are going to, sorry? Yes, we are going to welcome Galen Thorogood forward to still provide some remarks about him. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure to have the opportunity to speak about Zolt Hepsberger, who could not be here tonight. Zolt was hired at the RCMP 25 years ago in February of 1994, and he's been there the whole entire time. He's worked hard, he's keen to learn and do well. He has worked in a couple of different areas within the RCMP. Today, his duties include maintenance of master name and index, police information checks, disclosures, FOI, ATIP requests, and classifying our police records. All very complicated tasks and requires a knowledge of disclosure and how to protect information and privacy. It's not an easy duty, and he's very dedicated to his work and to the RCMP. I first met Zolt in 2007 during our police records training program, and we sat beside each other, and I quickly learned that he was keen and wanted to pick up things, or was picking up things fast. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with him over the years. Outside of work, he does weekend cleanup throughout the city. He collects refundables for Tour de Rock and has raised over $2,000 each year on his own. He's our official scorekeeper with the Alberni Valley Women's Recreational Hockey League and with the Panthers as well. On top of all this, he cares for his brother on a daily basis and takes him to his appointments and outings every week. He's a hardworking person who cares deeply about everything he does, and it really shows at the RCMP. Congratulations, Zolt, on your 25 years.
Thank you, Gayleen, and thank you to both Zolt and Lisa for all of your contributions to the city. The next item on our agenda is the appointment of regional district directors. Councillor Paulson, would you read this motion?
I'd love to. I'd like to move that Council for the City of Port Alberni appoint Mayor Minions, allocated 5 votes, and Councillor Haggard, allocated 4 votes, to the positions of Director of the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District. Alternates shall be, in order, Councillor Paulson, Councillor Corbeil, Councillor Solda, Councillor Poon, and Councillor Washington.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
Second.
Perfect. And any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, and moving on to item 4, the Vancouver Island Regional Library Board. We have a letter dated October 28th, 2019, requesting consideration of the city's representative on the Vancouver Island Regional Library Board. Councillor Haggard, would you read this one?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that Mayor Minions be appointed to the Vancouver Island Library Board for a term of 1 year commencing January 1st to December 31st, 2020, and that Councillor Polson be appointed as the alternate.
Is there a seconder?
Second, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. And item 5, appointments to committees and commissions. We have a list of committees and appointments attached to the agenda. Councillor Washington, would you like to read this one?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the appointments to the committees and council representatives to public bodies, commissions, and select committees be adopted as circulated.
Is there a seconder?
Second, Madam Mayor.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moving on to item 6, this will be our fastest council meeting ever. We have our schedule of meetings. So the first item we have is our regular meeting schedule, and we do have a letter attached, item 6A first, I think expressing some, another view of start times for our meetings and making some points there about the demographics of our community. Councillor Poon, would you like to move receipt of the letter?
So moved.
Is there a seconder?
Second, Madam Mayor.
And any comments or conversation on the letter? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Carried. And then we have our regular meeting schedule, and this does leave our meetings beginning at 2 p.m. And just a note, I think, for everyone in the public, we do also have committee of the whole meetings that begin at 4 p.m. and then most of our budget meetings do begin at 7 p.m. So we tried to really make an effort to have meetings at all different times of the day to suit the ever-changing needs of our community members. So, but certainly if council wants to, we can also change some of our regular meetings, and we can do that on a one-off basis as well. Councillor Corbeil, would you like to read this motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the 2020 meeting schedules for the Committee of the Whole, Advisory Planning Commission, Alberni Valley Heritage Commission, Audit Committee, and Advisory Traffic Committee be approved as circulated.
Is there a seconder? Okay, any conversation? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And for 6B, single out large.
I think Councillor Corbeil skipped a motion there, but you know what?
Did he? I don't think so. Okay, read it again.
You didn't read this one here?
Pardon me.
Regular meetings.
Well, you wanted to get out of here quickly. I move that the 2020 regular meeting schedule of City Council be approved as circulated.
Second, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so I think we already voted on 6B, so 6A, all in favor? Carried. And just a note on 6B, the people that we are appointing to committees this year are to the Advisory Planning Committee, Stephanie Weber, Callan Noy, Ed Franker. To the Community Investment Program, Callan Noy and Colin Schult. And reappointment of Diane Maba. And to the Heritage Commission, Colin Schult. And we want to thank all of you guys for volunteering to take part in our committees. And that brings us to the end of our annual organizational meeting. Really want to thank all of you for coming, and we do have a small reception planned in the front entryway to City Hall, so you're certainly welcome to join us afterward for some snacks. With that, would somebody like to move adjournment?
Holy cow, I'm so moved.
Second. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.